Come on, come on. Boom, we're live. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's me and Martin tonight. So, for the sake of each of our communities, we're just going to introduce ourselves. So, for tonight, I'm Chris. For tonight, uh, I'm the founder of the Prime Community, Prime Off, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm in the funnel space. I'm also here to just chill with you tonight. So, Martin, what about you, man?
All right, so I'm Martin. I'm the founder of Real Talk Lifeline. I've been on my personal development journey seriously since 2018. I'm a financial consultant also, and at this point, I'm just really working on myself, learning on different things about getting better. So not just business necessarily, but hey, that's the topic for tonight.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of business mastery now, so let's give everyone context. Business mastery. How many of you watching us know Tony Robbins? If you know Tony Robbins, comment UPW or Unleash the Power Within. Boom. Right? Or
Mhm.
Firewalk. Right?
Yeah,
So
maybe
Tony Robbins, that's the guy. Right? Thanks, Martin. He
Mhm.
is the leading. Um, he is a world leading trainer, business consultant, etc. Um, and me personally, he's been a dream. I've been following him since I was 14, right? High school. So, um, and why is this such a big deal? Business mastery. Magkano nga, Martin? Is how much?
I think it was $10,000. Like, and you can
Yeah.
Google search that just to verify. So we're not playing games here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a $10,000 seminar or workshop. And not just that, right? Not just the financial commitment, but the commitment it takes for you to actually be part of the event. You have to spend 5 freaking days working, working on the workshop for 12 to 16 hours per day. So it's not crazy, you know. So Martin, what led you to business mastery, man?
Okay. So yeah. So Chris mentioned Tony Robbins. I put him on my dream board some years when I started my journey in 2018, 19. I got to do my first Tony Robbins seminar 2020. So COVID happened. Unleash the Power Within. That's usually his first workshop or seminar you can sign up for. I did it virtually in September. I did Date with Destiny after that in December
Nice.
2020. Mhm. And then the year after, 2021, I was part of this mastermind group and they wanted to do business mastery. So leveling up. And yeah, I was already at my limits mentally. I didn't know how much more I could take, but I have a few I wrote down. Yeah, like Chris knows that it's not just paying the seminar; it's also being able to take it, the intensity. So I'm gonna share some of my favorite lessons that I wrote down from it, and hopefully it helps. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And I like how you said sometimes people could pay for seminars, but if they're not mentally ready, sometimes it's sayang, eh.
Yeah.
Um, on a side note, before I share why I joined Business Mastery, there's actually a lot of seminars on my end that I wish I took when I was a little bit older. So, hugot lang. Konting hugot. Business Mastery, why did I end up getting Business Mastery? So, like you, I attended Unleash the Power Within. Funny thing though, I attended in Singapore, so I was lucky. I paid Tony Robbins around 30,000 pesos to trick me into walking on fire. So, guys, I joined his cult, right? Fair warning if ever you guys are gonna, if you're planning to join one of his future programs, it's a cult, it's a literal cult, and I don't care, you know?
I paid 35 grand for my ticket.
Yeah, para ano, to, man, I still can't believe I did that. Um, but yeah, And then during the seminar, he had this thing called Business University, Mastery
Mastery.
University,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
it was around 1.5 million, I think, or over a million pesos. And I said, you know what? When the time comes, I will take this. And luckily enough, the pandemic happened, and a friend of mine, well, a friend of ours, he Lai, needed a plus one for business mastery. So sabi ko, you know what? This is a sign. I'm taking it. So I ended up joining business mastery. So that's my story. And how many of you are excited to learn about our insight, right? So we're and ano nga yung can share the disclaimer.
Yes, yes. Yeah, disclaimer. Again, your experience may vary whenever you attend a Tony Robbins seminar. Whatever we share here tonight, these are just our favorite lessons. It is not a substitute for you to not attend the seminar. And those of us
Yeah,
who get it, because we already attended the seminar, this is just my side note. Usually, when I hear people's favorite lessons, Chris mentioned the firewalk. I haven't done it yet. I'm the type of person, the more I actually want to do it because it's on my bucket list. But for other people, if it's not their thing, at least you know, right? It's I don't want to do any false advertising here. I don't want. We just want to give you the truth, like straight up, no BS. And yeah,
yeah,
it actually helps us appreciate the seminar more. So yeah, hopefully more people learn about this, Tony Robbins, and man, maybe you might get an insight that might change your life or business.
yeah, for sure. That was a really good disclaimer, man. So,
Mhm.
all right. So without further ado, let's dive in. If you guys are excited, type me in the comments. Okay. If you guys are excited, type me in the comments. Right. We want to see. Okay. And also share this with people you know, because again, you it's rare for you to get insight on a $10,000 seminar. So ngayon, how much is $10,000? 590,000 pesos. So,
Yeah, half
natawag
a
dyan,
mil. Yeah.
yeah, half a mil. Okay, even more. So,
Hmm.
again, share it with your friends, and let's dive in. So, um, why don't you start us off, man?
Yeah, yeah. I'll start it off. So this crazy idea we have is fast fire. So what fast fire is I'm gonna spit fire, meaning I'm gonna share one favorite lesson, and then after that, I won't go so deep on it because the intention is to cover more ground. I'll pass it off to Chris, and then he'll share one of his favorite lessons, and then he'll pass it back to me, back and forth. People watching the live or the replay, feel free to type in the chat. Maybe, hey, that's a nice question, a nice lesson, or you have a question, you could type it there. So I'm gonna start off. Uh, one of my favorite lessons
All right.
here is relating to business mastery is full immersion. So again, I'm gonna do this in quick bits. Full immersion means when we're doing something now, whether it's a seminar, learning, or a business itself, or our work. Full immersion means I'm totally involved. So what does that mean? I got paper, I got sorry, paper, I got pen. I'm writing notes. You could type on the keyboard, uh, react on your device. If you're actually you get a lesson and you go, hey, energy is everything. I hear the music, and you start applying it, the lesson actually integrates faster and more powerfully the more we remember. So full immersion, energy is everything. The last quick fast part I'll say is be honest with yourself. See it as it is, not worse than it is. So another reason why I'm doing this sharing this fast fire with Chris is my note. Sometimes I see business or my life a certain way, and then he sees it at a different angle. So I go, oh, I'm going through depression, life sucks, something like that. Chris suddenly says, hey man, you're not that um bad because your net worth is maybe about a mil out of all the investments you've accumulated over years. By the way, you're not in debt, you don't have legal issues. I start to be more honest, and I have a better perspective of my life. I see life as it is, not worse than it is. So that's one really good lesson I got from that. So I'll pass it off to Chris for one of his favorite lessons he got, and then back to
All
me
right.
after.
So mine is
Nice.
this. Mine is I'm using slides because I'm cheating.
It's
my
even
my
better.
my notes is right. Right. So
I,
for me, mine
I
is
like it.
real power is execution. So a lot of businesses, I in particular love to start. I have lots of business ideas that could actually earn a lot, could be $1 million business, right? But again, it's just an idea. If you don't execute, there's no real value in your business. Kaya, for example, some people would come to me and say, "Hey, Chris, I have this idea. Should I get an IP on this?" And minsan I just laugh because, well, you're gonna get an IP pero wala pang ano tawag dito, wala pang case study or test, right? So
Yeah.
not unless you already have the budget, um, and and kailangan mo yung IP just to surprise the market. That's good, right? But some of these people are just startups and they really need to focus on execution. So that's one. So back to you, man.
All right. So I'll share one of my favorite lessons before I start with mine. For the new people watching, new people in business, IP, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, that stands for intellectual property.
Intellectual
Like,
property. Yeah.
yeah, like to copyright your business, your idea. So again, hammer back to Chris's lesson, execution. It's still the real power is in execution. So yeah, you reminded me of that quick story of Gary Vaynerchuk, or he was telling a story. He said, "I had the idea before Uber, but he didn't do it." So execution wins all the
Yeah.
time. So the next favorite lesson I got here in my notes is, "I am a gladiator. Winter is my
Oh yeah.
season." So I love that line because this is very relevant because we took this just last year, March 2021. When the COVID pandemic started in March 2020, people are all like recession, recession, and again it's happening now, September or October 2022, going on to next year 2023. So the mindset of Tony Robbins is winter is my season. He already gave a forewarning that the biggest wealth transfer is going to happen over the next few years. Again, whether it's going to be through crypto, through different assets because of inflation, the US printing more money. So that means what do you call that? Hyperinflation can happen.
Hyperinflation. Yeah.
So he said, winter is my season because there's actually a way to thrive even during the winter. So people will say, "Are you crazy, really?" Well, yeah, I hated winter until I learned how to snowboard or ski. That's a saying. Yeah, Tony Robbins or Dean Graziosi said that line. So I really love that line here. There's actually so many good lessons here, but I'll stop with that one because it was just so powerful. I am a gladiator. Winter is my season. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah, I love that. And I just want to expound a bit on what you just
Yeah,
said as
sure.
well. Um, I when we did Business Master, I was yelling, "Winter is coming! Winter is coming!" You
Which
know,
is true. Yeah.
and yeah, which is true. Tapos yung nakakatawa was that people were still too scared, right? They were still too scared to invest. They were still too scared um to take action during winter, and things got worse, right? My snow na,
Correct.
they didn't take action, and things got even worse now. Now, and congratulations, wala ng winter, ice age na. So, an ice age is coming. So, you know, time for you guys to prepare. Anyways, so, yung sa akin naman,
Yeah.
this is a really good lesson. The truth will set you
Oh,
free. Now, for a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, you have teams, and some of you might be in a space where you're trying to protect yourself from your team members or people around you. And it's a very valid thing because, well, based on my experience, people will always take some sort of advantage over you when you're doing business, right? And bearing the truth can sometimes lead you there. However, it will also attract the right people to join your team, and at the same time, you yourself, by truth here, what it means, it also means that you should also be very accountable with yourself, right? Kasi some people are in denial din. You're a business owner. You know what? Winter is coming, but I'm fine, right? Pero
Mm.
nakikita mo, but technically speaking, you're not fine. Your boat is sinking, and you're just looking the other way, right? So for me, the truth will set you free. And here's the fun part: since I have chosen to live life with the truth, even during stormy times, if there's winter, winter also has blizzards. So there are storms within winter, right? So
Yeah.
the truth all has always allowed me to remain unscathed during blizzard times, right? So yan lang yung nakakatawa. And fun fact, I was accused as a liar quite recently, um, which is quite funny. Pero at the end of the day, yun, right? Truth will set you free. All right, back to you, man.
All right, man. I was like looking for the heart or the emojis here on StreamYard or in the live, but again, that hit me. I like that. Yeah, the truth will set you free. So up next, my favorite lesson that hit me. It's a lesson on mindfulness. It was an exercise actually. So I'll just break it down very quickly. There's a term called optics, or it just means the
Mm,
perspective. Yeah, seeing blind spots. So the exercise here was what creates a breakthrough. And a breakthrough is as simple as this. It's simple, but it can improve your life or business significantly. It can be a little thing, but it makes a big improvement in your business or in your life significantly. So the last thing here, for this mindfulness exercise I like was there was this exercise, and it sounds funny because normally when I say, "Hey, you're watching us now on the screen, take notice of what's color blue," and then you're just gonna lock in, yeah, squares behind, the text box below, the background color. But then the exercise here was notice three things you never noticed before. So that was very interesting. In your own room, over here, in your right index finger, in another person next to you. Sorry, is it this? in your clients, in your clients. Now you're getting it. Oh yeah, I never noticed this in my clients, in my business, in my clients like that. That if you noticed, it would enhance the experience massively. So Chris can say, "Hey, what are you missing that could make your life more enjoyable?" He says, "Why don't you add this? Why don't you try this thing called sales? Why don't you try this thing upselling? Why don't you add a price tag instead of giving it for free?" Suddenly, a massive change or improvement can happen. And by the way, I'm still learning this. People might say, why would adding a price instead of giving it free be an improvement? Don't people want it for free? Don't people want to pay less? What I'm starting to learn is people actually don't pay attention if you just give it to them for free. So hopefully you get another good idea out of that one. But yeah, that was a really good lesson on mindfulness and blind spots, just making a breakthrough perspective. So back to you, Chris.
oh, this is fun kasi it's related din dyan. If you're not
Mm-hmm.
measuring it, you're not managing it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and this is so true. So a lot of people, even when you're not doing business, um, there's just a lot in your life that you're not measuring. And fun fact, you can actually measure relationships. So Martin and I know this, pero it's called the ano tawag dito? The life quadrants,
Mm,
if I remember correctly, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, you can actually measure how amazing your relationships are, right? You
yeah.
can actually measure your physical, your money, your spirituality at this moment, right? So if you're
Mm,
not measuring it, you're also not managing it. So maybe, the reason why something is off in your life is because you're not managing it properly. So this might be a financial question, but in all honesty, it's also a life question. All right. So yun, back to you, man.
all right. This is cool. We're making good time, and I'm really just sharing my favorite lessons. There's so much. Like the workbook is 100 plus pages. So guys, i- if ever you go through the course, in for a ride. So yeah, thank you, Chris. If you're not measuring it, you're not managing it. That's a good one. This next favorite lesson of mine is it's related to identifying your true gift. Who are you? And there are uh, three types or categories that Tony Robbins shares. So one is the artist, the leader, and then the entrepreneur. So the artist is also known as a skilled producer. Number two is the leader or a manager. Three, entrepreneur. That's the businessman. So, super quick in the interest of time, Tony Robbins is actually an artist among the three because you might think he's the business guy, but you can actually learn that skill. Another mentor, I think T. Harvecker is more of the entrepreneur, the business guy, money, systems, stuff like that. And here's the hint: what fulfills you? Again, without judgment. What fulfills you? Who are you at your core? So personally, I feel like I'm more of the artist slash skilled producer. How about you, Chris?
I have no idea, honestly.
That
I'm
that's a,
I actually
that's
feel like I'm
fine.
all
I didn't
yeah.
expect
I
that
actually feel
answer.
like I'm
I feel like
yeah.
my dad.
Kasi
Sorry, go finish first.
no, 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 no. That what you just said is interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like my dad's like a manager. Uh, and then there's a note here. Managers don't necessarily have leadership skills. You have to cultivate or find leaders. Again, that's partly a joke. Obviously, my dad, led by example, was a very hard worker. Earned money. We moved out of a low cost village to get here, to where we are. So, and then again, as Chris mentioned, sometimes we're just discovering. Maybe you could be a bit of all. Maybe you're all, or maybe you can start with whatever you feel is more of your affinity. Like I feel like I'm more of an artist or a skilled producer, meaning I work better alone or whatever floats your boat. So I like that because it gives us more awareness. A lot of times people will push us to be a leader or a manager. Again, not that you can't be a mentor and have 10 people under you. So maybe Chris is right. Sometimes we develop the other sides as well. And if you ever sold anything for money, even ice candy or something like chalk nut, then you're kind of an entrepreneur. You're a business person already. So back to you, Chris.
Yeah. Well, if ako probably I'm more of a balanced type. Pero
Mm.
entrepreneur probably is my dominant. Next is for me.
Next.
Ito yung sa akin. Oops, yun. If you're sorry, that's actually wrong. Um, so are you
There.
a business operator or are you a business owner? So what does that mean,
Mm.
right? If you're a business operator, kasi again, a business is nothing more than a piece of paper, right? So you can own a business so long as it's registered, Pero
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. You're not technically a business owner if you can't get a vacation from your own business. Ako, when I was in ano tawag dito, for a good chunk of my life with handling Prime Off, I was a business operator. I was working um 16 to 18 hours per day,
Wow.
right? So that was way more than when I was an employee. And the fun part was, and here's the thing though, for me, working 16 to 18 hours is fun. Working 8 hours was boring, you know.
Wow.
Pero at the same time, ano tawag dito? Uh, I was also under the mercy of my business. So if I was not running it, there was a huge chance na mawala siya, right? Business owners, you own the business. That means you guys are, ano tawag dito? You guys have managed your business so good in such an excellent way that it can operate without you. So that's why we say F that, right? If you're a business operator, F that. So how many of you
Mm-hmm.
watching are business operators and want to become business owners? Join Business Mastery if gusto nyo. So go ahead, Martin. You're
All right.
next.
Before my next one, my next favorite lesson's kind of heavy. I won't go through it entirely. I'll just kind of give you a visual. I'll show the page. Just to add to Chris, I was journaling this either last night or early morning, coincidentally, on business owner from operator to owner. Tony Robbins, he said this line. Again, I was watching this 1 hour seminar clip. He said, when I was growing up, everybody's goal was get rich enough so you never have to work. Now, like all my friends are 15 or 10 years my senior. People like Steve Wynn. I think he's like he owns a lot of casinos in Las Vegas. He's like 74 at the time of this interview. Warren Buffett's 85. Peter Goober, co-owner of the Golden State Warriors, like that, one of his dearest friends, 74 years old. They're all working harder now than they ever were, even at that age, right? And they don't have to work. So the goal is, I'll relate it to Chris's
They don't.
idea. Mhm. The goal is make enough money so you don't have to work. And then you'll do what you love and you'll pour your time and energy into it. As Chris mentioned, 8 hours was boring, 16 hours was fun. But here's the ender, you have to make that decision. And it's the first most important decision is I'm going to be or become an owner. So I just wanted to hammer that. I literally journaled that today, I think, or last night. So become an owner, not an operator. By the way, you can also do that through investments. Being an investor, like Warren Buffett, among the examples there. So Berkshire Hathaway. So there is a way. So my favorite lesson. Next up, it's this. It's the 10 stages of the. They call it the life cycle for business. So I'll just
Oh,
share with you the
I
part that hit.
love that. Yeah.
It's kind of heavy. It's kind of heavy. So the 10 stages, super quick. Man, I don't know if I'll be able to read this reverse, but it's like birth, infancy, toddler, teenager, young adult, zone of maximal maturity. That's the prime. Midlife evaluation. Pardon. Midlife evaluation. What is this? Because I'm reading it. Aging.
But
Sorry. Aging,
yeah,
institutionalization, and death. So here, just to make it relatable, you can actually apply this life cycle not just to a business but to you as well. So personally, I did feel like I was at midlife, or yeah, midlife, when it came to my career in life insurance. So midlife comes after maturity or prime. I did achieve for some years. And then midlife evaluation is things start to break down, entropy has begun. You evaluate whether to rejuvenate or continue to age, and then you have to innovate or you begin to die. So I took a leap of faith in taking this seminar and others prior to that. So the life cycle of a business, before I pass it on to Chris, you can actually apply that same life cycle to your own life also. And every business has its own life cycle separate from you. For example, last quick example, life insurance industry. So is it closer towards aging, institutionalization like that, or is it closer more to the early stages, birth, infancy? Again, basis is like a low penetration rate. Not many people are buying it yet, etc., 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 like that. So super helpful to understand the life cycle of a business. It does not care if you ever um learn that the cycle, it it's just reality, as Chris mentioned. The truth will set us free. So back to you, Chris.
And it's quite funny because while you were sharing that, I was reminded one of my recent reels or content that actually got thousands of views involve yung life cycle of a business. So,
Yeah,
and
yun.
I mentioned their exit strategies. No, so if you're
Nice.
starting a business, don't be like me. Okay, I started my business thinking that I want to do it forever. Pero at the end of the day, yun pala kailangan pala may exit strategy because sometimes it's inevitable when the business grows too big. So does the values, right? So for
Yeah,
me, I'm just preparing for the day when Prime Off becomes too big and that it can no longer cater to whatever values that it had in the past. So exit strategy, sell it off, right? So
yeah.
that's and it's actually pretty fun, right? Well, like it's okay, go. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like adding this quick because Chris mentioned exit strategy. I heard this, and I'm not sure if it was from Tony Robbins also or another mentor. People think the exit strategy is just about money, like maximizing money. What I learned to love about the exit strategy is when you think that way, you actually put more love into the business. Or I'll make it more personal, even a person. If ever I met you, or like I met a partner, I got into a relationship, and I had an exit strategy in mind, I wanted to end where she wins, she comes out way better than she first met me. But if a person had no exit strategy and they think forever, that and people think they live forever, then familiarity breeds contempt. People get
Yeah.
complacent. Look at that. So the exit strategy that Chris mentioned, it's not just about money necessarily. It actually encourages us to do it at a higher level or do it with more love even. Because if you weren't gonna sell it, you wouldn't take care of it as much. You just try to milk it out for as much money as you can. So yeah, back to you, Chris. I just felt like adding that.
Yeah, that was pretty good, right? Oh, and by the way, for those of you in the S quadrant, when I say S quadrant, you're self-employed or you're employed,
Mm-hmm.
you can act like a business owner even if you don't have a physical business. Okay, so what does that mean? If you're a manager, you act like a business owner, then your focus is efficiency, automation, etc. Okay, versus just someone who is playing the role of a manager. Okay, so and your value goes up. If your current company doesn't see that, then maybe it's time to jump ship. Now, yung sa akin
Nice.
naman, the next thing is
Mm-hmm.
this. Being too early is as bad as being too late. Okay, and I learned this, and I actually learned this the hard way. When before I launched a startup in the middle of a in the middle of my business, and the startup involves it's basically a website builder. Okay, it's a website builder for entrepreneurs, and they can use it. Now, here's the fun part. I went in the market too early, and when I say too early, that means my I had issues with fulfillment, and I also had issues with marketing. Okay, so not a lot of people still realize how important having a website is. Okay, however, my competitors do. Yung ending, they came in the market just right, and they swoop in and got all of the clients. So it was a funny thing, right? For me, it was funny, not bitter at all. So yun lang, being too early is as bad as being too late. So um, yeah. Oh, and this is also an Apple thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Apple, if you guys have noticed, um, will never add a feature to their products until they have perfected it. Okay, a lot of people complain about customization. Android can do this. Apple waits for the perfect time before adding anything. For example, their latest iPhone, the um, never lock screen, right? It never turns off. That's a feature all Android phones used to have. The keyboard where you can just swipe the thingy,
Mm-hmm.
that was a feature phones had for years before Apple added it in. The camera, same thing, right? But they would choose mastery over implementing it too early into their products. So being too early is as bad as being too late. Back to you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I shoot fire on my next favorite lesson, that one, being too early is as bad as being too late. It also hit me because I was having a discussion with this investment group, and then I didn't understand again. Just because of this lesson I learned. The line was, I said it's a really good buying opportunity now in the stock market because the PSEI, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index, crashed. It's at a low now, 5,700 level. So this person said, buying opportunity, 3 years na buying opportunity. In my head, I was like, what the dude? 3 years ago was before the COVID pandemic. So why would that be a buying opportunity? You would buy too early, and then the market would crash, and that would go up, and now it's crashing again. So if you buy too early, yeah, in investments or business, it could be disastrous. Actually, like you could lose a lot of money. So yeah, and it relates back to the life cycle also. Let's say you were trying to sell houses on Mars, for example. I don't know, and we don't have transport there yet, like economical transport. Yeah, maybe you're selling a product too early, ahead of its time, like that. Unless you're selling it to Elon Musk.
I, I I would buy from Elon Musk, not gonna lie.
Or Chris, yeah. So you find your
I
niche.
would,
That's a different lesson.
I would buy from Elon Musk. Pero, I mean, Elon Musk, Richard Branson,
Yeah.
or Amazon. Either sa kanila. I will never buy from the Chinese. Like, look, Facebook.
The-
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, those are the people who have space programs already. So yeah, all right. So, speaking of the next favorite lesson might sound related. This one is short but hits hard for me. So Tony Robbins said this line: "You are not lazy. You just have impotent goals or impotent.
Mm.
I could hear that. Goals that don't excite you." So I like that because a lot of times growing up, I would think, am I lazy? But then when there comes some big idea, something epic, and again, it's in your own definition. It could be getting into skateboarding, getting into guns, doing skydiving, whatever it is for you, building a business, starting a business. Uh, so suddenly you get excited. You have a lot of energy. You have hunger. So I love that line. That's one of my favorites. You are not lazy. If ever I apply that in business with teammates, with people around, the laziest person on the outside, as it seems, once they have a goal that is so big or something that they love, it ignites, like sets them on fire, man, they're gonna become unstoppable. Suddenly they're the best person, like they're the greatest person you've ever known. So I love that. I love that line.
Nice. Yeah, I love that as well. So yung sa akin naman,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm adding some rock and roll music because I like this.
Yeah.
Ayun sa akin, what's your chokehold on growth,
Ooh.
right? So then, and this is and this is in connection to the truth will set you free. You know, what's really holding you back, man? Right? So, and it's a very real question. You know, in my case, what's very let's see, ang dami. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot really to digest here. Pero for most people, what one of the reasons why this is a very important question is it's a ano tawag dito? It's a call for immersion for yourself, and it's also a call to be real. Kasi for example, yung sa akin, one of my biggest chokeholds before was that I didn't trust myself at first. And here's the fun part: the first chokehold was like, I don't trust people.
Mm-hmm.
Pero upon checking exactly what that meant, it means I don't trust myself, right? Kasi how can you not trust other people if you know you can handle shit?
Yeah.
And I curse, right? Diba? How could that I just cursed? How could you um learn in my case ganun, right? I can't trust other people because I can't trust myself around them. So
Yeah.
it's a real thing, right? And takot ako, I was afraid. And why can't I trust myself? I was afraid that I might get betrayed again. I might be hurt again. You know, my best friends stole a client and um and accused me of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Of being manipulative, etc., etc. Right? In my case, and quite very recently, someone stole money and accused me of being a liar. So, yan din yung nakakatawa, right? And it's a very interesting thing because what was my chokehold quite recently? My chokehold quite recently was that I don't understand how a person could dig his own grave and still be stubborn,
Mm.
right? So hindi ko magets, no, why, man? Stop doing anything because you're digging your grave.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've come to realize, with the help of Coach Bam, I've come to realize now while meditating, holy crap, okay, he appeared. Sorry, he appeared, but in his reflection was me, and then reflecting me was God. So parang holy crap, what the heck is this? You know. So what again? What's your chokehold? So that's another rabbit hole which we're not gonna get into right now, but that's a funny rabbit hole. So back to you, man.
Yeah, that's a super rabbit hole. My imagination is going wild already because that what's the chokehold on growth? It's very relatable. So I could say, man, I'm trying to heal my depression. I had a down day recently, just the other day. I don't know if I have enough energy, but look at us now, like 40 minutes plus going
40
and
minutes.
like still on fire. So the chokehold maybe was, hey man, like the previous lesson. Well, does it excite me, right? Maybe I'm not lazy. Maybe I don't have low energy. So it was just a different chokehold. It really helps with awareness. So people, you could just rewind, pause, type in the notes, the chat if you want. That was a really good one. What's the chokehold on growth? So maybe this next favorite lesson might help because this is a lesson on strategic innovation. So it's three keys to
Oh,
strategic innovation. The part I'll just emphasize here is uh, ensure that there are infinite upsides. So I love this line, and ensure that there are infinite upsides. So another seminar I took before this in 2019, the the lead trainer there said this line, win-win or no deal at all, which I love.
Win-win. No deal at
Yeah,
all.
win-win or
Nice.
no deal at all. That's like the best paradigm, because there's lose-lose, win-lose, which a lot of us do. I'm guilty of that too. Win-win is the best. So win-win or no deal at all. And then this lesson has on infinite upsides means okay, it's a win-win for me and Chris. Infinite upsides is if someone is watching this free live video, even the replay, and then you get an upside of it. You go, hey, look at these two crazy guys. Wait a minute, that's a really good idea. Did they really let me Google business mastery. Holy shit, it really is 10,000, $15,000 to sign up for it. So the upsides are endless as long again as it's executed and founded on the truth, right? All the lessons are connecting now, and then that's a way to revitalize your company. I believe also yourself. So what are infinite upsides? People are like, come on, give me real examples. So new voices, uh, new questions or new conversations. Some of you might be hearing this for the very first time. New perspectives, new passions, or new experiments. And that last one was one of my favorites because the idea only becomes useful when you test it. So make it an experiment. So back to you, Chris.
That was pretty good. Okay,
Yeah.
mine is this. Okay.
Oh, I like this one.
Satisfied customers go away, raving fans stay. So again, not really again, but for those of you who just want to satisfy people, um, usually what happens is that how many of you have ever went to a restaurant, ate there, and the food is nice, and never came back, right?
Yeah.
Type me in comments, right? Yung nakakatawa was that, but there's these restaurants that regardless of how many times you come back to, you always go back for more, right? So in my
Yeah.
case, it's Bavaria. Hey, did I bring you to Bavaria, Martin? Hindi ba?
Not yet. Not yet. In Iloilo? Not yet.
Ah, dang. I should have brought you there. Sina, no plan, sina,
This Friday, I guess, when we fly there next week. I don't know.
ah, we'll see.
Well, let's see.
Kasi you,
We'll see.
our
Busy
restaurants and all
schedule.
that stuff. Yeah. May ano na, may schedule na tayo for your dinners. Eh. Pero
Oh yeah.
dang man,
No
I should
problem.
I should bring you guys. I should bring you guys there. Anyways, Bavaria
Mm-hmm.
is a local restaurant that just overperforms every time I go there. That every time I have a visitor flying to Iloilo, I would take them there. Right? Now it's the same thing with and it's the same thing with your business. You could give your customers everything they need and they would go away, right? Because there's probably not much else they can get from you. But turn them into raving fans. I'm not saying deny them the opportunity to get everything they need. What I mean here is that give them more than what you think they need, right? Growth or everything is in levels. Okay, there's always a level for everything. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a financial advisor, let's go there, right? If you're a financial advisor, the person you're selling to needs to protect his assets when he dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the next level after that, right? They want to accumulate more wealth. What's the next
Yeah.
level after that? They want to they want time freedom, blah blah blah. What's the next level after that? Estate planning. What's the next level after that? Etc. Etc. Right?
Yeah.
Every time you sell them something, there's always another need that pops up. Okay, so That's something most of you have to think about. That's why we have concepts like the value ladder that which I'm not gonna talk about here, um,
Mhm.
that help guide you guys um, on how to make raving fans. So back to you, man.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much because one of my favorite lessons is on raving fans. So, fun trivia, when I went to college in UANP, this is like 2005 to 10 era, the last 3 years, my course, communication, integrated marketing communications, our college is jokingly known as the UANP, the University of Abundant Papers, because they keep giving us all these
Abundant paper.
readings. Yeah, like all these
Uh,
books or texts. One of the texts I read for my masteral course, I believe it was, yeah, it was Raving Fans. It's an actual book, and I
ooh,
actually read it like from start to end, and I really liked it. So later on, you might see some more favorite lessons in that because I love that idea. And Tony Robbins lives it. Again, it varies per person, their experience of the seminar and all that. Uh, to me, he over delivers. You'll see more about it. So my next favorite lesson, it's from Jay Abraham's Three Ways to Grow a Business. But I'm not gonna get technical. I'm not gonna get too technical here. The fire marks, these are the ones I'm gonna share. So the first one out of three, it's like a three quick hit. The first hit is, what's the lifetime value of each client? So that's just
ooh,
the first hit, by the way. I love that because many people treat a client as a one-time transaction. Let's say I go, oh Chris, yeah, I'll just do one live with you. Hell no. Like, lifetime value is after that, or what's the ripple effect of this live or video with other people, and then the more value it might even give to Chris or give to other people. Second hit, the client can refer you to others if they can't repurchase right now. So the word those words were so intentional. So okay, the client can't purchase or repurchase yet. Well, they can refer you to others. They can go, hey man, I can't give back to you right now, but I know someone who could really use these business ideas. I'm gonna share this video with them. And you can do that. So the third last hit, three quick hit, what could you do additionally to add value? So you already are hearing lessons from Chris earlier. So by the way, it's what could I do additionally to add value to my customers? I'm not trying to get something from the customer. So that's one way of creating a raving fan. Even if you don't buy anything from me, I'm still going to give you more. Even though prices are rising, gas prices, whatever, a gas station doesn't raise their prices, they even give you a discount or a rebate. You sure as hell are going back to that gas station. So how could you additionally like add even more value as the third step? So back to you, Chris.
I have actually run out. Well, not necessarily. Hold on.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, there's just some stuff that if I share would spoil, would
Ah,
spoil an
okay.
experience. Yeah. So siguro ito na
Yeah.
lang. I mean, one of my most favorite reasons why. Oh, I don't have the pictures. That's sad. Okay,
Of,
so
mhm.
ito na lang. You can turn your for-profit events into a massive movement to help people. So Tony
Ooh.
Robbins and Russell Brunson, I attended Funnel Hacking Live online quite recently, and they have one thing in common. They support Operation Underground Railroad, and Operation Underground Railroad
Mm-hmm.
basically helps kids who are victims of trafficking.
Yeah.
Okay, so and these organizations are something else because they've also done that in the Philippines. Okay,
Yeah.
so they've operated in the Philippines. So it's a really crazy thing, and they've generated over $100,000, or was it $1 million? Man, I forgot.
Yeah,
Um,
I saw that part. Yeah.
yeah,
Live.
but
Parang the
it's live.
donations. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was crazy. Oh, and one more thing. Um, the Tony Robbins cap,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
The Live Lucky, the
Yeah, the
Clover.
lucky hat,
Trying to
the
remember.
clover hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black
I
Clover
almost got my
capsule.
hands on one of those. So
Wow.
so it's crazy. You can actually give value. Imagine the hat. You can have someone make it for like 500 pesos,
Mm-hmm.
but for someone to own that hat, they have to support Tony in some way or form that values over 50,000 pesos. You know,
Yeah.
so crazy thing. That's it for me. What about you, man?
That's a really good idea. So yeah, Chris said you can turn your for-profit events into massive movement. So the price of a cap could be cheap, but people are actually giving money to support a movement. So yeah, Chris mentioned that Operation Underground Railroad thing was these are kids being smuggled or kidnapped and then, being illegally used or abused or I don't know. It was really emotional when they shared that. So wow, yeah. So you could apply that in your own way again. My next favorite lesson was it's this page on marketing. So again, if you feel or believe that's helpful for your business, then again you can lean in, type in the chat or take notes. So marketing, a simple definition of marketing is getting people to want to do business with you. So it's a little different from sales because sales is a little reaching out there, push like that. Marketing is a little more of pull. The tip here is align your marketing with the way people buy. For example, this is very relatable for me. Insurance sucks. Nobody wants to buy insurance. It's not fun. If I try to say insurance is cool, do you want to buy this? It's not aligned with the way people buy. So, how do you do that? How do you change or challenge it? So, how could we build fans? Our emotional relationship with our customers is how we get and keep fans. So, that's from Makil Haggerty. He's the CEO of his own company. So you could build emotional relationships with your customers, and then that was the secret to people wanting to do business with you. By the way, hint hint, what we're doing on this live, even if we don't know you yet. So why passion is infectious. Again, do it with the right intentions, with a good heart, high intention, low attachment. Whether or not you got value from it, we still give our 100%. Go all in. Another advantage also of doing video this live is mirror neurons. You're not just listening to our voice. Sometimes you see our handsome faces, or um, sometimes you just get in the mood. You're like, hey, I like that setup of Chris behind. The way he designed his workspace studio, his man cave, or sometimes they just say, I like your style. I suddenly feel like getting up and taking action because of you. So that was a little different perspective on marketing I got in just like one page. So I'll throw it back to you first, Chris. I have a few more favorite ones, but yeah, that one was on marketing.
Oh, hint hint guys. On fashion kasi nasabi na ni Martin. I'm wearing a bathrobe.
Looks
Dito
like a
John,
coat. Eh? Yeah.
this is a bathrobe. All right. Yeah, I find that really funny. Okay. So, let's talk about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So I found the workbook. So, here's a here's another bunch of good nuggets, right? So 8 triggers of crises. So your ultimate competitive advantage is anticipation. So that
Mm.
means these could happen in any way or form. These things could trigger, and you would be put in a situation where you would either thrive or die. Okay, so anticipating any of these could actually help you. So number one is competition. Who is your um, competition? And that's a very powerful question. For example, I started my business with ClickFunnels as the OG guy for funnel marketing. Right now, it's Sean Clark from Go High Level, right? So Russell is still the main man. Russell is still regarded as the master of funnels, but majority of people are now using Go High Level over ClickFunnels. So, and that's where I'm at. The moment that the tide shifted, the technology that I'm using, which brings us to the next one, change in technology. Like I said, I was using ClickFunnels in the past. Now there's Go High Level, and probably there will be more technology that are gonna come somewhere down the line, especially with AI becoming more and more prominent in today's age. Change in culture. Now, this could be both internally and externally, right? So, how many of you have noticed that um, the streets got a little bit more dangerous lately, right? Comment me, right? So in Iloilo, in Panay, there have been
Mm.
a lot of guys with guns riding motorcycles and gunning down cars, right? Outside the Iloilo, not within. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's a sign that people are hungry. People are more willing to do atrocious things to survive, right?
Yeah.
Change in economy, which brings us to the next thing I was going to talk about. Right now the dollar is worth 59 pesos. $1 is
Wow.
59. In my case, my expenses went up and so did my income. Okay, but at the same time my expenses went up. Like, okay, sure, I'm earning in dollars, pero dude, it's now more expensive to pay the softwares that I'm using. It's it's also, and everything also went up, right?
Yeah.
It may be priced in terms of pesos, but change in government regulations, how we lost a lot of businesses and potential projects because of the current administration. Change in employees' lives. When your employee marries, their focus also changes. When they marry and have a kid, their focus
Mm.
also changes. Okay? When they're desperate, and this happened to me, right? No matter how good you treat them, they will bite your hand. Okay? So
Mm.
change in employees' lives, change in customers' lives. Like I said earlier, ClickFunnels, one of the reasons why ClickFunnels is not the OG software anymore is because it's expensive as heck. For you
Mm.
to make a working funnel, you have to spend more or less $500 per month, okay, on
Wow.
software alone, right? With Go High Level, the price went down to around $300 a month. Okay, and the best part is that's unlimited clients. I have saved, me and my clients have saved over, let's say, let me do some quick math right now. Times
Yeah. While Chris is doing
over
quick math, yeah, the
90,000 per
dollars.
month.
Sorry.
Dollars
Wow.
yan, because of the
Amazing.
change in technology. Right? That's crazy. But
Wow.
yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You
My
can.
very basic knowledge, because maybe some or a lot of people might know what ClickFunnels is. Again, it was like the best known or most widely known before. If ever you've been to a website or a landing page, and then it said like you want to fill in your information here, your email address, or yes, I want to buy the course, whatever. So it's that step by step process of how you end up buying stuff online from people. So yeah, super powerful software. And then now it's go high level as Chris was saying. So
Yep.
yeah, so you were
But that
here in
might also
the
change.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're in
Change
this
customers' life. Yeah, customers'
customers'
lives,
lives. There you
and
go.
change in your life. For example, in
Oh,
my case, fun fact, I would never go out of the country to work. Now I am
mm-hmm.
thinking of immigrating somewhere else because of the current situation, right? Why would I immigrate? Because I cannot lie and I voice out my dissent, right? So so fearing for
Yeah,
my life, fearing for my life, and I don't want to be red tagged. I would rather just go somewhere else and come back when the Philippines is ready for me, you know. So that's a fun fact, right? Another is our business model is changing also into something more scalable and something more pro employee. So my team is gonna be earning more a lot in the next few months or half a year than um they would normally. So that's a very crazy thing, all because of the trigger crisis. So that's it from me. Back
yeah.
to you, man.
So I'll just do a quick summary or wrap of what Chris mentioned because that was a lot of triggers or it's related to crisis, right? When something happens in our business, in our life. The line that hit me was your ultimate competitive advantage is anticipation. So even in just any of those elements or parts that you see coming, okay, so the employee or this person might do something crazy like that. Anticipation already is it's your ultimate competitive advantage. Yeah, if the market was about this might sound really crazy. I had this client back in Feb 2020, super unusual. Again, I'm already treading on how crazy this sounds. Again, I'm just doing my best, keeping the client confidentiality and everything. The client usually would pay their insurance premium a huge amount annually on time or early. And then this was due on Feb 28th, ending of Feb. The client asked, Martin, what's the grace period? The maximum number of days or like that I could extend the payment a bit. And the client stretched it. Very unusual. I was very worried. And then next thing you know, on March 15 or March 17, the freaking COVID lockdown happened and the market crashed. Falling knife. As in those who track the stock market, it crashed a lot. Like down from I don't know if it was 7,000, 6,000 level down to 5,000 or 4 5 at the lowest. So super crashed in a matter of days. Then the client finally put in the premium due before any delays, further delays or penalties. I was like, how the hell did this person anticipate or know? Like you gotta be like
He knows.
Nostradamus, yeah, or you gotta be like a prophet to know that shit. But all that person was doing in hindsight is your ultimate competitive advantage is anticipation. So if you have the awareness, the information, understanding, you can make moves like that. So my next favorite lesson, so a little shift in the technicality here. This one's a little different feel. Favorite one of my favorite lines from Tony Robbins in Business Mastery is I see business as a spiritual game, regardless of
Oh,
your religion. Regardless of your religion. Again, not just personal sharing, not that religious growing up. Religion was shoved down my throat and forced onto me. So I really had like allergic reactions to, being forced to follow religion. But he said business is a spiritual game. So what does that mean, right? Everything we do in business, it's directly reflected or related to all the other parts of our life. So personal, emotional, mental, spiritual even. Some people think business is only about money or transactional. And that lesson really opened my eyes. The way I would treat not just my coworkers, not just my manager, not just employees or people, it really helped me a lot. And then some other bonus tips, another quick one I'll just add in before giving it back to Chris. He said this line as a guide: a decision made from fear is almost always the wrong decision. So whenever whenever a person feels like, hey, this is not right, or I keep trying, there's some, and again, it's not just like, hey, who are these two guys on the live, they look scary. That's not what I mean by fear. Yeah, it's when a person finally evaluates, they're like, okay, what is this? All right, maybe it makes sense. But if a person still is in fear after all those factors in, and the person has to make a decision, it will almost always be the wrong decision. So that's another tip on that whole spiritual angle of it. So that's why I love the truth. That's why I love sharing. That's why I love doing this live with Chris. So back to you, Chris.
Hold on, I'm checking some good ones as well na hindi masyadong wordy.
Yeah, I just try to get the parts that hit me hard. So we know people who attend this the seminar, your notes can really fill up the whole page just in like small font in the corners. But I'm just trying to give you the hardest hitting ones, my favorite of the favorite test ones.
Sige, yung sa akin na lang, I'll just say, I couldn't find it. Eh. But the
Mhm.
question is, what business are you really in? Diba?
Mm, yeah,
I love that question because when you ask someone, okay, sige, well, introduce yourself, right? Or what do you sell, right? Or saan ka connected? And they always say, hey, I'm from insurance. Hey, I do real estate. Hey, I do funnels. Pero, I mean, what does that even really mean? Diba?
yeah,
So, answering the question, what business are you in? It helps in a lot of ways. Number one, you ano tawag dito? Number one, you already get clear on why you can get clear on why you're doing business. Diba? So for example, in my case, I'm in the business of changing the way business and work is done in the country through funnels.
hmm,
Diba? Through funnels. And then, they can already ask, okay, what the heck are funnels? Blah blah blah. Diba? Pero that's the sort of business I'm in. Or I could even say I'm in the business of helping small time entrepreneurs scale to 7 to 8 figures per year using funnels. Diba? That sounds
yeah,
pretty neat. Or says I'm Chris, I do funnels, right?
hmm,
Or I'm Chris, I do online sales funnels and web design, right?
hmm,
So huge difference. So yun lang, back to you, man.
yeah. I'll hammer on Chris's line when he said, "What business are you really in?" And I learned this also back when I was taking up my course or master's. Also, there was a case study. It was called marketing myopia. So again, without the fancy terms, going back to what business are you really in? Back then, the railroad businesses or the industry, they were like the richest people. I don't know if it was like the Rockefellers or
Rockefellers,
Vander,
Morgans,
yeah, or
uh,
Vanderbilts or that
yeah.
era. There were
Those guys.
railroad tycoons. Yeah, back
Yeah.
back in the day, they got super wealthy. But then, if you look at the way we do transportation now, trains aren't used that much here in the Philippines. Like, will you take the PNR, sorry, along the Riles like that, the old train, or would you rather take a car, a Grab? Right now, even angkas on the motorcycles cheaper like that. So Henry Ford
Although
came in. Yeah, go
the
go, Chris.
disclaimer lang, disclaimer lang. Although, of course, for people who can't afford Grab, right? The trains
Yeah.
are like, yeah. So sige,
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So what happened was they were really dominating the railroad, uh, the trains like that, the industry back then. And then comes this guy like Henry Ford, who invents the first mass-produced automobile, like the Model T, like that.
yeah,
So Ford, the business he was in, he was in the transportation business. Or maybe if, a last and more clear example would be, let's say, fuel companies like Shell, like that evolved just from fossil fuel. They're now going into renewable energy. Even if people stop using gasoline, because there's flex fuel, there's hybrid electric, Elon Musk coming in. If they start building hydrogen batteries, whatever, all this stuff, they're not going to go out of business because they're in energy. They're not in like the gasoline
yeah.
business. So that was a good point on what
Although,
business are you really in. Yeah,
although
yeah.
to be fair, they did crack down on nuclear because of that, because of the threats. Fun fact: nuclear was not banned just because of the atomic bombs. Okay,
Mm,
there was
yeah,
atomic bombs were one of the excuses used why nuclear isn't being used as a energy source, right? It's proven now that nuclear is greener than most, so which is funny, right?
wow.
Pero well, at the same time though, these tycoons are people who can decide what is next, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
There's even a conspiracy nga na the Rockefellers are the Illuminati, right? Daniel Carnegie, one of the tycoons, um, almost bought the freedom of the Philippines during World War II. Right? Kasi 'di ba we're a colony. So
yeah.
he was willing to buy our freedom. Pero um our government said otherwise. So that was another funny thing. Sige. So let's get away from history and go back to business mastery. So
Oh, that
resourcefulness
rhyme.
is the greatest
Yeah,
resource. Okay.
resourcefulness.
And
Is
there is no this is one of the most powerful lessons I learned from my uh first or second mentor, right? It's not your resources that matter, it's your resourcefulness. So if you're someone who thinks na I can't go to the next level because I don't have the connection, the money, the know-how, doesn't matter, man. We live in a
mm-hmm.
time where opportunity is more readily available than ever. Unfortunately, people who don't know that, um, well, don't see the opportunity. But anyone can literally. Of course, it's a lot harder. Not it's a lot harder if you were born, if you were born really, really, really poor, right? But the thing is, it's a lot easier for you to get out of the rat race or get out of poverty because of today's day and age. All you need to do is be resourceful. Okay. And thing is though, um sometimes you need good mentors to find the opportunities for resourcefulness, you know. So,
Mm,
you know,
really
eh,
good one.
like for example, one of the reasons why I love spending a lot on great mentors is because they can actually um show me things that I would otherwise not realize was a money making opportunity.
Yeah,
One of the most recent and dumbest investments I ever made was NFTs. If you guys are familiar with all of those non fungible
yeah.
tokens, to those of you who don't know what those are, their crypto. Just Google their crypto product. Just Google it. Right? It's worth googling. I
Mm-hmm.
managed to earn uh triple, quadruple times my investment in a month or two. Right? I invested around 125,000 pesos on that virtual property. Virtual property, my God, okay, and flipped it for triple, quadruple the price. So that was
Wow.
really dumb, right? And the only reason why I was able to do that was because I was resourceful. I didn't know what NFTs are, right?
Mm-hmm.
I and all I knew was that, you know, I just had to find ways to get in the field or else I will be left out. So yun lang, right? Also, notice emotion over there.
Yeah.
Okay, your biggest resource, okay, that you can always tap into is your emotion. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Your emotion could also be, it could be, hate is a really good emotion to have. Not hating other people, no, but hating your situation is a good
Okay.
enough emotion to have because it pushes you to get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude, top that off with gratitude. Despite the descent, you're still grateful that you're alive. You're finding little things to be grateful for. And anything you're grateful for multiplies, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. What else? Your emotion as well when you're faced with fear. How do you handle yourself when you're faced with fear or something else entirely that's not technically safe for you, right? So yun, and I'll give it back to you, man.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Resourcefulness is the greatest resource. The next favorite lesson I spotted here, I it I believe it's kind of related. It's on strategic influence. So I think it's along the lines of resourcefulness. So strategic influence here, the one I marked is it's our ability to influence, uh, tied to how people evaluate us, our product, our service, or our situation. So ultimately, it's the identity that the buyer will attach to you. So it's kind of like your brand or your identity, and you can use it very strategically. So someone might say, "I lack resources," but I'll ask quick questions here. Like, name a well-known American car company, for example.
A well-known American what
Car company.
car company? I have no idea. Ford
Okay, so Ford,
is
you
Ford
mentioned. Yeah, so that's an answer. Yeah,
American.
yeah. And people in the chat, you can also. How about name a well-known computer company?
Apple, definitely.
Apple. Yeah, you put. I put IBM. Apple is also the more modern answer. Last one. Name a well-known soft drink.
Yung value niya gold or yung affordable?
Any.
Joke.
I-
Joke. Coke. Coke. Let's go with
Coke.
Coke.
So Coke is like the most popular. Pepsi maybe for some people, but yeah, Coke. Those are pretty much the universal answer. So, what if someone says, "Name a blank," diba? Name a person who is like that, for example, and then they say you. Name someone who's the best at what's this building a prime community, for example.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. If your name pops up, that's what strategic influence is. Then you'll say, well, he didn't pay any money for that. Or where's the resourcefulness in that? Yeah, you built it. You built your own strategic influence. And that identity is, it's free, by the way. If you ask people feedback, and then they keep saying, um Chris, yeah, well, I know Chris. He just shares a lot. He just keeps providing a lot of value. If not just one person, but every other person keeps saying that, that becomes your identity or your strategic influence. So you could kind of relate that to the resourcefulness idea earlier. So back to you, Chris.
No, actually, that I honestly think that was a good uh, share to end with.
Oh, okay.
We're an hour and 25 in,
Yeah, yeah, I'm,
so
I'm good.
I
You,
think
you pretty much
yeah,
mentioned like raving fans, which is like my favorite. Mhm.
yeah, and then I think we should give people time to adjust. So, how many of you are overwhelmed right now? Like me in
Oh
the
yeah,
comments,
yeah.
right? If meron.
If you're overwhelmed,
If you're
yes,
overwhelmed,
yes,
how many of you have more notes, right? More notes in your life now than ever. So,
yeah,
ito lang yung masasabi ko. You know what? We're interested to know what's your key takeaway. Comment down below. What's
yes,
yours? Um, and yeah, just share, man. If you have any questions, type it in the comments or send us a PM, a DM, and we'll be more than happy to cater the questions. So, yeah, man.
yeah.
Any last words to close
Last
the night?
last words. I think this is from day 5. So I'm gonna end it with again one of my last favorite lines here. It's a closing or an ender kind of line. So it goes in 3 hits, 3 quick hits. So my last words here for tonight are: games are a reflection of life. What you do here, you do in real life. So learning
Boom.
never stops and the training never stops. That's why we're doing this for you or with you guys.
Boom. Yeah, love it, man. And yeah, thank you guys for listening tonight. And see you next week.